Hey out there, it's time for another vlog, and I had a ready-made topic. A lot of people have been talking about it, and here's my whole take on this. Race play, racial play within the context of fetish and BDSM. Quite frankly, I am sort of surprised that uh, this is even an issue, given the fact that you would assume that most practitioners of fetish and BDSM are pretty open-minded, liberal, and tolerant. But I guess that's not the case. Uh, you know, Many aspects of fetish and DS require us to suspend our disbelief, and I don't understand why in this particular aspect of it that we can't do the same. No one believes that a slave is actually a slave given the lexical definition. I would say that people who are actually slaves would probably look at what we consider slaves and laugh and think that it's pretty insulting to them as well. Just the term slaves, our ancestors forced to do labor and looking at the BDSM type slaves like, wow, you chose to do this shit. I mean, do you really have a choice in being a slave? But that's another discussion for another day. Um, I mean, if we're going to try to make parallels between the world outside of fetish and inside of fetish, and claiming that people who engage in racial type play are racists, then we're going to have to bring in domestic violence, assault and battery, uh, verbal abuse, gay bashing, civil liberties. So we let some of the stuff go because no one will bat an eye to a guy getting caned or nipple clamps or labia clamps being put on someone, yet, the use of certain words in a racial context gets people up in arms. So, you have to be consistent. If race play is off limits, then so is impact play, breath play, forced by, or any other sorts of things that aren't kosher outside of fetish. But I think it goes back to something we were taught in first grade, probably. Uh, Keep your eyes on your own paper. If you're offended by certain types of play, then don't go to sites, blogs, journals, or, whatever, message boards that have those type of subjects. You aren't forced to go there. You open up your browser and you type in the address. I mean, if your browser automatically goes to all these pages where you're just shocked and appalled at the subject matter, then it's time for a new computer. You're grown. You have control over your internet experience, so take that control. And a lot of these articles or blog posts are usually behind a site or a post that makes you certify that you're 18 before reading it. Now, if someone's requiring you to certify that you're 18 before you can read the content, then you can pretty much expect something to be profane, graphic, sexual, or just offensive. So keep that in mind next time you hit that button that says, yes, I am 18. You don't know what you're going to see on the other side. Another thing that has bothered me about the whole race play discussion is that there's a false dilemma being presented that says either if you partake in race play, you're either a racist or you're an actress, either or. But, there's a multitude of other options out there, and one being that someone might use a tool such as race play or a scenario such as race play to get the sub in a certain state of mind, or they're using it to manipulate the situation to their advantage, or they just think it's hot and they themselves, the dominant's getting off. I mean, it could be a multitude of reasons why, other than the fact that they are truly racist or they're just play acting. So, me in particular, I sometimes use it because it's convenient and easy. If one of my boys fuck up, I can just say, well, you fucked up because you're white, and you're a dumbass because you're white. And it's simple. And anything that makes my life simple, well, it just works. So as I, appreciate the fact that all these white people are getting offended and, outraged on my behalf, they need to keep in mind that the bottom line is, if your goal is equality and making sure everyone has the same opportunities, then grant these minority subs the opportunity to partake in their kink. I mean, if it really makes their dick hard to be called spics, wetbacks, kikes, niggers, porch monkeys, or chinks, whatever, towelheads, then, who are we to tell a grown man who pays his own bills that, nah, you can't have this kink, it's just wrong, and I'm protecting you, because you shouldn't be called these things, and God damn it, I'll make sure that you're not called these things. Because if we take that type of thinking to its logical conclusion, then for our benefit, meaning for the femdom's benefit, we should be taken out of the femdom role and put into the kitchen and maybe given a couple of babies so we could take care of our man and his house. So, and we shouldn't even be doing this because this is considered sex work, and women shouldn't degrade themselves. We should all be lawyers and doctors and engineers and not get into this whole sex business. Well, I personally do not have a problem with white people engaging in race play with minorities, be it black, Asians, or whatever. And I would even go as far as to say that if someone approached me and asked me for some derogatory words or phrases, I'd probably tell them, because, I believe that even if I'm not into it, if it doesn't affect my bottom line and doesn't hurt me, then who am I to judge? They can go off into their bedroom and do their own thing. They could do it on their own website because I don't have to go there. So I think this is a lesson in tolerance more than anything else. Instead of, jumping in without thinking about it first, if you really think about it, most of the guys on the receiving end of racial humiliation are self-proclaimed niggers, niggies, towelheads, or what have you. So until the next time, and thanks for listening to my urbane musings. Bye.